Oh shit.
What?
I just realized. Oh, there we are. What? What the fuck? Hang on, let me just. This is wrong.
Are we streaming? Are we live?
No.
Good.
Yes, we're live, but I'm fucking everything up. Hang on. Mic auxiliary. So, okay, I see. Okay. Desktop audio. Just making sure all the random shit's not playing right now. There, okay, we're good. We're going. Yeah.
Like that? We're good?
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Is that like a turkey call?
It was I wanted to do something like, I was expecting it to be more of like us knowing that we were live, and then I was going to make that sound as like a broad statement, but
there was a button that I hit that for some reason did not work. So it took me to my streaming shit, which is like my gaming streaming shit. It's still figuring things out. OBS has a bit of a problem right now with profiles, I think, which is frustrating. But yeah. So, okay, welcome to the podcast. We're here. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, so this is round 2.
3.
Yeah, it is round 3. I even titled it
last time
3.
you got it on 2. Come on, man. Get up. Get with the program. Come on.
Schmerberty boot.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about, I don't know, a little something we did last night. We went and watched Star Wars.
That was a good. I liked how Disney did it. I don't know if I liked the story though. That was my beef with it.
No, you don't like the story?
I mean, I don't know how well it just fit in with everything. It kind of just seemed like one big, just like they could have went somewhere else with it. Besides, I don't know. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but
sorry, I just hit myself in the face with my own microphone.
You.
There we go.
Wow. Problems today.
I woke up this morning.
So did I.
I'm like in the middle of trying to make myself not look like a sea manatee.
Like,
sorry. Vanity.
Okay. I woke up 3 hours after I went back to bed. I went to bed.
I know. You were like, we could have filmed this like, well, we couldn't have because we ran into like, again, technical difficulties. One of these days it's going to be a fucking smooth
We probably would have been,
operation.
because you asked me here at noon, if we had started filming it, or started screwing around with it
you would
at
have
8,
been asleep. You would have fallen asleep.
Well, but we also would have been on schedule, though. Like,
true.
If we would have started.
That's true.
You know, but I would also be just sitting back here for like half of it.
Yes, you'd be asleep.
Dead.
So yeah, Star Wars. I don't know. What are some thoughts that I have?
I don't know.
I liked what was there. I would make different choices on what I would like to see, I think, as story-wise. And I feel like I ran into... I don't know if it's recently, but I feel like more and more often there's a lot more movies that it's like... It's not a good sign when you're like, when does this movie end? Like,
right?
I kept thinking, like, this movie should be over by now, and it's not. Like, it just keeps going.
Have you seen either one of the Deathly Hallows, Part 1 or Part 2? Of Harry Potter?
Liked those.
They were good, but they drug on for a while. And so did all the Hobbit movies, too.
To be fair, the first Deathly Hallows, I think, definitely drug on. Yes. But I think the best idea, what they did with that movie was they're like, let's put all the exposition and slow-paced garbage in the first movie, and then make the second movie 100% climax.
Right.
Because that's what I felt like.
That's what
Deathly Hallows Part 2 was constant climax.
Yeah, I feel like it could have ended a little earlier, but it was climax all the way through.
Yeah. It was entertaining. I really enjoyed it, but
with Star Wars though, I think it was very slow in some parts, and I don't know what too much of a spoiler is. I mean,
I don't know what is too much of a spoiler.
I think we can safely say the plot of it, right? Like,
yeah, you can say what it's about. I mean, if
like,
people don't know what it's about, then they
but the plot is basically the entire movie. That's what I had a problem with.
Well, okay, so
like compared to Harry Potter,
the whole movie. I'll if this is a spoiler to you, I'm sorry, but the whole movie is about the Resistance running from the bad people,
the dark side,
the New Order. There we go,
the New Order.
Which I feel like the New Order's sense, like they made it make more sense with plot shifts in this movie than their name made sense beforehand. When a certain thing happens, it becomes the New Order, and they like there's even like something about like this is going to be the New Order, and it just didn't make sense up until then. So I feel like I don't know, this movie had a lot of beats that happened one movie too late.
One movie too late.
Yeah, well, so the things that happened in this movie should have just happened in The Force Awakens. Even though I know The Force Awakens was its own separate movie.
Right.
But that, like, for things to make sense, like, to call it the New Order, it makes more sense now at the end of this movie, The Last Jedi, than it did in The Force Awakens.
I am thoroughly confused on how they're gonna, like, what they're gonna do with the next few movies. Didn't you say they confirmed?
There's one more movie in this trilogy, and then they confirmed that they're gonna do another trilogy. They don't know if it's gonna be afterwards or if it's gonna be another prequel series or what it's gonna be about. But there's a whole other trilogy after this.
When is the madness going to end?
It won't. It's Star Wars. It makes millions of dollars.
Oh,
That's
okay.
like asking when they're gonna stop making Marvel movies.
Right. Well, you have so much to go off of there.
Because you have so much to go off of in Star Wars, but the problem being like, and this is my problem with the movie is like, they kind of show, like what they did with Luke Skywalker, I thought was a shame. You know, like
what?
Like everyone, so Luke Skywalker is finally a fully experienced old Jedi.
He's Yoda.
What does everybody want to see out of Luke Skywalker? They want to see Luke Skywalker kicking ass.
Right.
And what did we get out of Luke Skywalker? Not Luke Skywalker kicking ass.
Which, alright, I'm not going to say what happened, but at the end, he freaking kicked ass, even though...
It was like 2.2 seconds, and it wasn't enough ass to kick. And he didn't actually kick anyone's ass. That was the thing.
Right, but... I don't know.
It's just... The problem being is like, it is Yoda.
His power kicked ass.
You didn't get until the prequels Yoda whooping ass. In the third prequel, the third movie out of the prequel, you finally get to see Yoda beat some ass.
I wonder if they're going to have Star Wars during the time where Star Wars is actually possible. They're actually having fighter jets, like, or, whatever, the fucking Death Star, and they're filming shit.
You're gonna have a fucking lightsaber.
And they're actually gonna be like filming even farther into the future. I'm thinking of 10,000 years, right? We're still going on with Star Wars.
Still doing Star Wars.
But now we have lightsabers, and now we have droids and shit. And we're still filming even farther into the future from there. I think that's what's gonna. That's my opinion. If we continue, we've been going in Star Wars since the 80s, so
70,
75,
maybe.
whatever time.
I don't know. I mean, I just think that the biggest problem was that Luke didn't kick enough ass. Is that fair? That's not fair.
I think the next movie they're gonna fucking bring him out. Though he's just gonna.
No, they're not. They're not going to.
They're not gonna bring him. He's not gonna be on the next movie.
I don't know, but still, it's just they're not. They're never gonna get to that point where Luke Skywalker beats ass. They're gonna stop okay. Let's talk spoilers for Force Awakens. Okay, Han Solo. We see an old, tired Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Why do we want to go see an old, tired Han Solo? We want to see fucking Han Solo kicking ass at his prime. You want to see Luke Skywalker kicking ass at his prime. And I'm sorry, he's an old tired.
It'll never happen. But imagine seeing this 7-year-old dude destroying people.
My problem with this movie is that it made the choice that rather than giving everybody what they want, watching Luke Skywalker beat ass, they gave us not that.
They gave us slow.
They gave us an old tired
running away.
I understand in the original trilogy not to show Yoda beat ass because he was a flippin' puppet. He wasn't even a flippin' puppet. He did know if he did flips, those were great practicals back in the day. But we can do this now. We can have Luke Skywalker beat ass.
He's going to. I'm very confident in the next movie he's going to kick some ass.
It's just not fair.
He's gonna even if in the next movie you say he's dead, he's gonna kick ass. He's gonna come back in his blue form, rip people to shreds because that's how strong his force is. He's gonna destroy. He's gonna dominate. It's gonna happen. It built. No spoilers, but it built up to that moment. It has to happen.
This is a crock of shit. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just
you're a crock of shit.
I'm just tired of making the shitty choice. It was a great film though. Here's what I'll give the movie: is what it was about was really good. It delivered what it was about really, really well. I think that this would have been better as a standalone, like Rogue One. Rogue One's a great movie. Rogue One, as far as Star Wars canon goes, the only thing in Rogue One, if you want just things that add to what you want to see in Rogue One, the 15-minute scene at the end. No, it was like 5-minute scene at the end with Darth Vader. Did you watch Rogue One?
No.
The best scene in Star Wars history. So growing up as a kid, I had one thought, and that was Darth Vader's kind of a fucking chump. I don't like him. I don't like his design. I don't think he's that intimidating.
What?
You know, he's not that scary. Those were my thoughts growing up.
You like Darth Maul?
Darth Maul is dope. He's got some cool design. They hired an amazing actor to kick ass with him. That guy's got a story. If you want to know an interesting story, look up the guy who played Darth Maul. Huh. So, anyways, Darth
Vader
is awesome. Darth Vader, though, growing up, I never liked him until that scene in Rogue One when they make him it was like an alien movie. So imagine this: all these guys are running. They're like, "Oh my god, oh no, oh no!" And they run into this dark corridor, and it's just darkness, and all you hear is, and he goes, and his lightsaber turns on, and it lights up his form, and he just starts beating everybody's ass in that thing and killing he's slaughtering people, and you're like, this is why Darth Vader's terrifying. Until that moment, on film at least, you never got to see what made Darth Vader any form of scary, intimidating, any of that stuff.
I guess. I mean, I think Emperor Palpatine was even more terrifying than
he was, because he was a saggy old corpse. That's horrifying to see coming at you, shooting lightning. Yeah. I just honestly like Darth Vader up until now. Now I like Darth Vader. That's what made Rogue One awesome. It's a good standalone film, but on its own, if it were to be the next piece, if that was the next Star Wars story,
okay,
in the canon of 3 films in a row telling one large anthology, it would be disappointing. And I feel like this one is the same thing. It's a great film. Watching them run away, watching the Resistance try and survive, that was awesome. That would be a great side story.
Right.
But at the same time, it didn't. And here's the biggest problem with what we're talking about. This is all foresight foresight, maybe? This is all we're looking at this before the third and final film comes out. So we don't know exactly what this feeds into the third film. My other big beefs are there are huge things in there. Things that got people excited. So things in The Force Awakens that got people really excited. Theories, ideas, without getting too much into spoilers, were just sort of thrown to the side. Like they were like, it doesn't matter. Like all these things that these things you're excited about, like this, this revelation or that revelation,
right.
just thrown to the side.
Right.
Like it doesn't. If you have a major theory of like, oh my God, who's this person or who are these people or what's going to happen here? Chances are in this movie they're just like, doesn't matter. Like, I was like,
this is what matters. This is what we're gonna.
And they're like, yeah, well, and that's what it's like. What I'm trying to tell you matters, and it's like, no, what we like you still want a little bit of fan service. If you know that fans are excited about,
Luke Skywalker kicking ass.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker kicking. That's just me. I haven't heard a lot of people as disappointed, but I really wanted to see Luke Skywalker beat some holy ass.
Alright, I have a couple questions for you. I want you to answer for me. Do you like that Disney has Star Wars?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they haven't, for the fact that they have 14, 17 Marvel films out already, and the lowest kind of rating that people give is meh. It's not, oh my God, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. It was just meh. For all of the ones that they've made, they've just had meh. That's a good track record, and for them to own Star Wars is as amazing as well. I certainly can because they have Lucasfilm, so I can certainly tell you, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull wouldn't have happened on their watch.
Right.
Shia LaBeouf would still be a star today. He wouldn't be all crazy.
He's insane.
He's a little, yeah. He's a lot.
Jim Carrey is off the walls now. Have you seen any interviews with him?
I don't think he's as much.
He's not like Shia LaBeouf at all, but I think he's been huffing a little too much paint, and he has some.
Well, I think what happened to Jim was Jim Carrey's significant other died.
Oh.
And he had to bury her, and that's hard.
Right.
It was someone that he's very much in love with. So he was in a grieving process. He's come out of the grieving process, and he's still a little different. But I don't really fault him for that. I don't think
he played. I think what happens to people when you play so many characters and you have so much shit going on in your life, you lose track of yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I don't buy that, but that's because most actors they know that they're acting, they're having fun.
He didn't though. He thought. Have you ever seen? I was watching his thing he was playing Andy Kaufman. You remember Andy Kaufman from SNL and other shows? He was him. He dove into Andy Kaufman's character for he went on retreats and just fucking got into Andy Kaufman's mind.
Yeah, you have to get into their mind, but at the same time, you still break away.
He never broke away. I was during this entire movie. I don't know if you've seen it. Jim and Andy is what it's called.
Yeah, it's on Netflix
or Netflix or whatever.
Or Hulu, is it?
Amazon is where I was watching it. But he got into that so much that when people were talking to him, "Hey Jim," and he would go, "Who's Jim? I'm Andy." He was Andy.
You have to understand though the Andy Kaufman character, that's what Andy Kaufman would do. So
right.
If you're trying to play Andy Kaufman, I don't know. I think he's still going through a rough patch after. Some actors have problems, and that's when Heath Ledger with the Joker, but I don't think that's Jim Carrey's problem. I think Jim Carrey's problem is he's still coping with loss, and he's coming out of that, and he's coming back into the limelight. Because imagine that, you're living just a kind of a normal solitary life, and then you get thrusted back into the spotlight, and you're like,
right,
it's because it's a job.
A lot of his stuff he was talking about is how depressed he is and stuff. I didn't know his wife died. or
it wasn't wife. It was like his
girlfriend.
But still, that's awful. Like they have a picture of him carrying the coffin, and it's heartbreaking. It
right.
really
it
was
would,
like
yeah.
You know, like just because Jim Carrey, you know, like Robin Williams, kind of one of my childhood heroes. One of those people that like lit up a lot of people's lives with happiness, and then to know that they're struggling or going through a bad time is really, really heartbreaking. Robin Williams, that was one of the hardest times ever. Was like when he died.
That was his medicine through and through, man. That was. I don't believe that was anything to do with him. I believe it was his medicine causing problems.
No, it wasn't medicine. There's an interview. Actually, you can watch the Joe Rogan podcast. There's an interview with Bobcat, who's actually like a really, really, really good friend of him. Yeah, he's a really, really good friend of him. He said it wasn't medicine. It was like he has an actual disease, or he had an actual disease, and it was taking his mind. Like it took his mind from him basically. And there were points where he couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't. And so eventually he just, you know, because you have no grasp on reality, you give in.
Yeah, but you know? I was listening to that, and I think they mentioned something that he was taking something for bipolar disorder or whatever it was, and that's what caused his break from reality.
Well, I know he wasn't actually bipolar, so it was probably like a misdiagnosed, and then mixing the wrong medication.
I know, because I was listening to the same thing. I know he took something, and I don't know. I think he took something, and it fucked with him too much, and he had to stop taking it, and then it just caused a big snowball effect.
Ooh.
I don't know. That's my theory, but you have a lot of people who are in the limelight who have issues. Like, there's so many, like Chris Cornell and what's his name from Linkin Park,
Chester Bennington. Yeah,
all of them.
The interesting story there. They were talking about like how, like, coincidentally, both of them were actually working on a project together where they were going to like sort of open the floodgates on, like, I think it was like not sex trafficking, but like molestation in Hollywood or in the music industry. And then around the same time,
get this Harvey Weinstein thing going. Is that what you're talking about?
Kind of like that, but with the music industry instead of just film. Because they happen everywhere. Oh man, I was watching Dr. Oz the other day with Corey Feldman was on talking about something called the Soda Pop Club, and it was a place where, like, I mean, predators were there for kids. They were on Hollywood kids, and there were some kids who got harmed and some that didn't. Did you
seen why Fred Savage didn't want to do anything? Like, he went after the Wonder Years with Fred Savage. I mean, now he's doing more.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, they blamed it on him being a child star. That he was a child star, couldn't get any more jobs. But the secret theory is that his the people around him while he was doing the Wonder Years, that's right, that's the right title, the Wonder Years, that they were molesting him.
Oh.
And that's why he didn't want to get back into the show business, because, you know, he's this cute kid who is getting touched in places, and that is what people
keep in mind. We always have to say this is all
a theory.
Yeah.
It's all,
so I don't. Yeah.
But that's what people were saying, but everybody else turned it towards just because he's a child star. And, you know, Macaulay Culkin couldn't get a job because he was always typecast as the Home Alone, you know.
The Home Alone kid, yeah. He did. I mean, he did some really interesting stuff. He did Saved. In his teens, he played a guy in a wheelchair, and they were like.
Are you talking about Macaulay?
Yeah. Fred Savage. I mean, it was a long time before you saw him again. Yeah. He popped up in little things here and there, but not.
What's his new show now?
I have no idea.
That's with
He did something new. He just did a Netflix show called Friends from College.
Right.
And that was interesting. Other than that, because He had Billy Eicher as his partner, and that was hilarious. Eichner. Fantastic. He's actually going to be playing Timon in the Lion King, the live action.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you seen the cast for that?
No.
It's amazing. Okay, so here's my favorite part. Guess who's playing Mufasa?
Who?
James Earl Jones again.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
They were just like, he did such a good job. Let's just have him play it again.
It's just his
The
voice.
rest of the cast, no. They said no on. So then they've got James Earl Jones, but then everything else is different. So, oh god, the guy from Doctor Strange who played Baron Mordor, is going to be Scar. So it's African American Scar, which is great. The guy, Donald Glover, is going to be like adult Simba. Donald Glover, Community. Childish Gambino, the rapper.
I know that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Donald Glover is going to play like adult Simba.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Beyonce Knowles is going to be Nala, the girl, the female lion who falls in love with Simba. And then
Is this an all-black cast? Is that what?
Most of it. Well, Billy Eichner is going to be Timon, and then Seth Rogen is going to be Pumbaa. So I was like,
that works.
Yeah, the whole cast is just nailed it. Like each so Mr. Bean played the original Zazu, the bird, and then the new one is going to be John Oliver. And I'm like, you pretty much just hired Mr. Bean in 2017, like, because John Oliver is a lot like, he's not the goofy like ooh type of guy, but I mean they have like very similar accents, or they sound very similar.
Right.
So I was like, that's awesome. They nailed the cast, like absolutely 100%. And then you go over to Aladdin, and I'm like, because the new Aladdin cast, like the two characters are fairly unknown. Everyone's upset because Jasmine is not Arabian. I think she's actually Asian. She was in the Power Rangers.
Okay, that doesn't work though. Like
the girl that they hired though is good. Like if you see her, she's good. And they were looking for someone who could sing and who could act, and they just could not find that in that community that they needed.
I guess.
And then the guy who plays Aladdin's pretty good. I haven't seen too much from him, but
who is it? Do you know?
I can't even pronounce either of their names, unfortunately. And then the guy, Will Smith is going to be the genie.
Okay.
I
don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I feel like... So here's the thing. You don't want to hire someone who's going to be exactly like Robin Williams, because that's going to be disappointing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, Will Smith is extremely, like, one-noted in everything. And I feel like he's going to put out the same exact, like, not the...
Wait, Will Smith or Will Ferrell?
Will Smith.
Oh.
Will Smith. Woo!
Right.
That's my Will Smith impression, by the way. No, Will Ferrell. Ooh.
I thought registered as Will Ferrell for a second, but then...
No, I wouldn't do Will Ferrell, actually.
You wouldn't?
Because he's too dry.
Okay, now that you say Will Smith...
Will Ferrell's... So here's the thing about Will Ferrell's humor. Is Will Ferrell can say the most ridiculous things with a straight face.
Yeah.
You need someone who can say normal things out of this world crazy.
Right.
Because Will Ferrell's the opposite of what you need. Because I could just see... I don't know. Unless Will Ferrell would want to try something crazy and different, he just...
Right. I wonder if Chris Farley would have been a good one for that. I think he would have. Will Smith, I think he has too much of a set personality. He's the same person in every movie he's ever been in.
And you don't think Chris Farley has been the same person in every single movie?
Chris Farley has, but he works for that role, I think.
So it's like some people are actually like petitioning for Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias. And I'm like,
No, that would be too much. Too over the top.
Too much. Yeah, too much. But at the same time, like, I don't know.
What if they just had Pee Wee Herman run it? Or
I like that actor, actually. He's pretty good.
What's his name that talks like this?
Oh, Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Well, Gilbert Gottfried was Iago, the parrot.
Right.
In Aladdin.
Yes, that's right.
I wouldn't do Gilbert Gottfried, but that's because it's the same.
Maybe you could have Bob Goldthwait do it. You might be... That's too much, also.
Yeah, you were trying. That was... Oof.
That's too much.
I wouldn't... I don't think I would do him. You're talking about like washed up 80s actors, or comedians. I mean, if we're just, you know what? If we're gonna stick with that category, there's only one man who can do it, and his name is Pauly fucking Shore.
No.
Yes.
I disagree.
I
Pauly Shore
100% think the only washed up 80s actor, comedian that could do it would be
no, because then he's just gonna do the weasel too much. You know, man, he's just gonna.
He would let it go. No, he would let the weasel go.
He would not.
He doesn't overdo the weasel. I've seen him do stand up. He doesn't overdo the weasel.
His stand up is horrible.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. I love his movies. In the Army Now was.
I was crying during his stand up.
But what's the movie where they're locked in the dome?
Biodome.
That was a good movie. But it's
that's what killed his career.
And Mother-in-Law or whatever, and In the Army Now, all these
Mother-in-law,
son-in-law, shut up, whatever. But Pauly Shore's stand-up, he tries too hard to be funny.
No. I was there. I went and saw him. He's like, I saw him live. He's funny.
And I think that's what a lot of people. That's what skews a lot of things is going to see somebody live. You know, if I watch a stand-up show live, I laugh way more than if I were to rewatch it on like a Netflix, which I've never seen anybody live who's also been on Netflix. But I don't laugh when I watch it on Netflix. It's when I'm in the audience that I laugh the most.
Yeah, but I mean that's how you know if material is good, is if it's like funny right up there.
Right, you know? But then why isn't it funny when it's being watched on Netflix?
Probably the group environment. Like a group environment feeds.
Right. So how do you know that wasn't a skewed point of view on Pauly Shore if you were to watch him live? You know what I'm saying?
I don't. I think he's hilarious. I do.
I think he's
okay. So there's one bit that he used that still sticks with me today, and I'm sorry for anybody who might be offended by this, but the cauliflower dick. Did you hear about that?
No.
Oh my god. So he's talking about girls giving him so many beaches. Like boxers who have cauliflower ear, he has cauliflower dick. It's the funniest. I was in tears. That was the funniest thing. I like when someone can go a little bit dirty, though.
I watched one thing with him where he walked to some girl's house who was a fan of his, took a bath, and left naked while the family was home.
That wouldn't fly anymore.
that wouldn't fly anymore, but he did it. I think he was trying too hard for that. He he just wanted people to laugh at him.
Yeah, but he has to try hard because he's gotta get out there. Like you have to be out there to get out there. You know.
Have you seen Encino Man?
I love Encino Man.
Yeah, I think that was good, but I think he
would be in it.
When people
what
write
I like about the idea of Pauly Shore now is that like he would be an interesting adult. Because in his prior movies, he's either a young adult or he's a teenager. So, like, even Biodome was like him being like a dumbass young adult. It would be nice to see something with Pauly Shore now as an adult. Like, I would love to see a sitcom of him being a dad. It would just be really interesting.
It would hurt me.
Especially because it would be really funny with him doing the weasel bit to his kids and his kids being like, what the fuck is that?
It's too much because he's also a Will Smith type of person where he's the same person in every movie.
I think he would be the perfect, because he was like in every 90s movie. So like a Goofy movie, he was in a Goofy movie. He was my favorite lead. Tower of Cheese.
That was a good.
And just seeing him like, hey, can I call you Al?
I like that part.
I
think he's a good cameo in some movies.
I think he'd be a great genie. If we're gonna do a genie, I'm actually all for Pauly Shore. I'm #100% Pauly Shore, please.
Well, then I'm gonna say Chris Rock.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Chris Farley. I'm like, Chris Farley's dead.
No, Chris Rock. Chris Rock. Maybe David Spade.
Chris Rock would be cool too, actually. Not David Spade.
Or what about Kevin? Not Kevin Spacey. Kevin
Hart? No.
What's his name from? He played Paul Blart. Kevin James. What do you think about Kevin James as?
No, I think he'd be too undertoned. That's why I think Kevin.
I guess
Chris Rock would be actually really good.
Chris Rock, I think, is a good one.
Chris Rock would be all right. Pauly Shore would be the best.
No. Are you saying Pauly Shore would be the best out of anybody that we could choose? Pauly Shore would be the best.
As far as I can think right now. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it would be too much.
Someone who's dynamic, who would catch your attention and hold it, and would get the kids.
I would turn it off. I would probably turn it off.
I would watch it. I would totally watch it.
Just bring back Robin Williams. Let's do like a little powwow.
Well, yeah. We'll do a little powwow. Is that how we bring people back from the dead? Just a little powwow?
Yeah. A little dance.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I was just kind of looking at seeing how long we've actually been streaming, just making sure.
What is the time?
We're at about 38 minutes, so I think we should just keep going.
We can go, man. What time is it? It is 2:23.
I saw the 14:23, and I was like, what?
So, because of my job, as a security officer, I do my rounds, and I have this little notebook, and it has to be military time that I write it down. So I just switched everything to military time. Oh,
that makes sense.
And so, yeah. But then when I get in there, because I'm usually midnight to 8, so I'm writing like 0100, 0200, 0300, and then when I get there at like the 4 p.m. to midnight shift, I'm writing 4 p.m., but it's supposed to be 1600 or whatever, and I keep getting screwed up. My mentality. I think we should cancel. Just stick with either military time or regular. I don't know what the word is. Just regular time, like what we used to. 24 hour, either 24 hour or.
Well, I mean, each one has their benefits, though. Like military time, not enough people are trained to understand that in the click of a second. Like I was looking at 14. What? I still have to do math.
Well,
but when it comes to regular time, it's not as efficient or handy.
Right.
When you're looking at military time, if it's evening or day. If you have that down, that's the problem. Not enough of the world is on the same page, and to shift people is such a pain in the butt.
I also think we need to get rid of the imperial measuring system and just go to metric, straight to metric, because you read directions. And it's all you need this something millimeter wrench or whatever.
Right.
And then you don't have that, so you have a 13 or size 13 or
98% of the world is metric.
Yeah. Let's just fucking go. The only reason we're not metric is just because we want to be little bitches and pout about shit and be like, no, we're not going to go to metric.
I don't think anybody's little bitches. I think it's the opposite, where it's hey, should we switch to metric? And there's just some old man in charge of it I'd take work. And you'd be like, yeah, but I think we could do it. And be like, yeah, maybe later. It's just been 250 years, this country.
Right.
Almost 300 maybe? I don't know. No.
I hate him. We changed so much, and I don't understand. This is what I want to talk about. I want to understand American fucking accents. All the accents we got going around here. First of all, how do you lose the British accent? You come over here, you lose the British accent. Are you trying? Were we trying to dull down the accent? Also, how do you get a New Jersey accent? How do you get a Texas?
That's actually simple. That's because of the melting pot. You have several different types of people gathering together in different places who speak different languages, who then therefore have different accents. So those accents start to meld. Like Cajun. Cajun is actually a French American accent. So that's why those accents exist, is because you're mixing different kinds. It's who lives in those regions and where they come from.
How do you lose? From Iowa and we have a very
Iowa's far enough down the road. It all starts with the 13 colonies. Who came into those colonies were the British people, but then you had the French as well. So then you mix the English and the French dialects, and then you have several
Anglo-Saxon, German shit.
Yeah, so you have several accents that come together, and then the kids who are raised with those accents, and then that being a telephone game over time. Think about telephone the opposite direction. Like telephone, you're telling your children this, and then your children have to tell their children that, and then their children have to tell their children that, and apply that to the idea of linguistics.
I think it's weird though, because it's so malleable. You can go. It's funny. When I went to New York, I started talking with a New York accent.
Yeah, we're natural mimics as well.
And then I have a buddy of mine. I hope you're watching this, and I'm gonna say your name because I love it. He was my old roommate. His name is Adam, and he has a Southern drawl, like a really bad Hank Hill kind of Southern drawl. He kind of talks like propane,
Yeah.
And he said he before he moved to Ames or Iowa, because he was from Missouri, and before he moved to Iowa, he didn't have an accent. He talked like somebody from Iowa, Nebraska, whatever. He just had a regular plain spoken accent, and then he moved to Ames. And when he got to Ames and started going to school here, he started talking with a Southern accent just to piss people off. And now, 3 years down the road, he has this Larry the Cable Guy vibe, and because Larry the Cable Guy from Nebraska talked with the plain spoken accent.
Yeah.
And he started talking for his fandom. He started having the, just the Southern accent, and so Adam is stuck with the Southern accent. He can no longer talk plain spoken, that's the wrong way to say it. But
okay, so one of the interesting things is Iowa is actually considered one of the most clear accents in the American dialect, and a lot of newscasters and stuff come here to learn how to speak, and then take that back with them. They imitate our dialogue, the Midwestern dialogue, to try and get that, because we have the most clear spoken. Isn't it interesting? For you and me, watching a movie and listening to people speak, they sound normal to us. But to someone with a deep Southern accent, they might not sound normal to them.
I also think it's interesting that you listen to the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, and Mick Jagger. If he sometimes he has his British in there.
Yeah.
But he loses it, and have you ever listened to ABBA? Dancing Queen?
It's interesting how accents go away in music and they almost sound American. I don't know.
Midwestern. I would point out to being a Midwestern accent. That's what they all go towards.
We have to be a little careful. Midwestern, if you go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They're oof. I love my wife, but her accent is... No, she's lost a lot of it.
Yeah.
But
see, that's also weird, is you lose it when you leave places, you get it back when you go back,
Yeah, well, we're just we naturally adapt to accents. Think about, children growing up, children with foreign parents, think about how they normally talk and how they sound. Their parents will have accents and they won't. Why? Because they're surrounded by more people in a region that have a very specific accent. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I think all that is due to who settles in what area, with a larger mixture of French or German or English or what accents, and then somehow they meld and combine in this really interesting way. It's too bad America has been settled without the ability to kind of record dialect. because that would be a really interesting project for someone to like sit down and research how dialect melts into each other.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think
that's a fun theory. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have liked to been around. Like not been around, but I would like to be able to see over the years how it starts off in the British colonies and they're talking with their British accents and watch it transition and people start to lose it. Because at some point, you know, somebody's dad had to just start talking different in order for their kid to start talking different and their kid to start talking different.
I think it's just such a subtle change that nobody noticed, you know.
Yeah.
You also have Native Americans and their accents. They get combined in, you know.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a cool thing to think about though. I've never really thought about that.
I like one of my biggest things. I was actually gonna go into college for like history, like to be a history teacher. This was a while back. It was either gonna be history or English. Like I like literature and I like learning about other cultures and stuff like that. And I don't know, just thinking. Have you ever been up like on the East Coast, like up by Maine or Massachusetts or whatever?
No, I don't think I actually ever made the East Coast.
All of their so much of their housing is like the old style, like what's it called? I know, like the siding is all like boards and stuff, and
yeah,
I can't think of the name of it, but they've got a lot of shiplap kind of interior and stuff, and it's all wooden shingles and everything. It's just so weird to see their housing, because you would think, you know, all their houses are so old, like so very old. You would think that they would replace bits and pieces of it, but no. And like, have you ever been to St. Louis? And how St. Louis is basically a fucking town of bricks. Like, it's just bricks. Everywhere you go is brick.
Yeah.
All the buildings, and that alone is amazing, considering how big St. Louis is and how much clay they've had to have acquired. I mean, I know they're on the river, but think about that. Think about how massive St. Louis is, and think about the fact that like 80% of St. Louis is made out of brick.
I wonder how many bricks that is. I bet there's someone out there with a statistic like this many bricks are made in St. Louis.
Right.
Like to make up St. Louis. And then we can make a Minecraft joke.
Well, and the fact that all this was made like early 1900s, some of it was, you know, I don't know how old it is. Like St. Louis itself is like in the 1800s and kind of, you know, late 1800s, but in all, I think it amazes me. I'm talking boring shit though, so.
Oh, well, it's not boring to everybody. I mean, there's some like, because that just sounds like geography. Hey, so you asked me about that statue. You have to hand me that statue. Hand me that thing. So,
like,
I'd like to thank the Academy. This is.
What? Hold on. What's?
So I work. So if you look, okay. So this is a dude, and this is a lady, and they're macking. And this is the dude's booty, and that's the lady's booty right there.
Did you buy this or what?
No, I did not buy this. This was my white elephant gift I got at work at the Christmas party that we had. Someone handed this out, or this is one of the. I was like, okay, so I thought I would be like, okay, I want people to want my gift this year, because so last year we handed out just I'm not going to go into specifics, but there were a few wedding gifts that we got that just didn't fit our style, and so that went into our white elephant gift, and someone got it and they're like, thanks. And I was like, this year I was like, I want people to want my white elephant gift, so I got the Oregon Trail card game and put it in there. There's a card game for the Oregon Trail video game.
Really?
I was like, it was like $10 at Target, so I bought that. And then my wife actually she got like a popcorn tub at work, and she got a whole bunch of candy and cookies already from work. She works at a fitness center, people. And so she was like, I can't. So we gave the popcorn tub with an Amazon gift card attached to it out. And people actually like stole that. And one friend of mine actually stole the Oregon Trail card game. She's like, I'm going to get dysentery. Like, that was funny. And then someone put this in there. And I don't know. I love it because now I can just make dumbass jokes.
Interesting. Like,
yeah, it's so
you
weird.
Can't tell. Yeah, I really can't tell what it is by looking at it. But
well, yeah, it took me a while, and then someone like pointed out like this is the dude and that's the lady, and they're mac attacking each other, and they've got their booties. Oh, you can see his hand's right on her booty, her hand's on his head.
At first, like when I looked at it, I just thought somebody took a bunch of the whatever material that is and just like. Bleh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bleh.
The person who she said she found this at Goodwill and she thought it was interesting, and this was actually a piece in her house for a very long time. So,
okay. Now that what you just said, I wondered. I don't want to be rude, but like what the thought process is when you go to buy something like that at Goodwill. Like,
I mean, it's just
like I wonder if she thought, I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm gonna buy it because I don't know what the fuck this is.
I think she said it looks cool. It looks cool to her.
I like the colors, like how the colors run.
Yeah, it looks cool to her, and so she decided. And that's, I mean, everyone's got different style. I think like as young adults, like my wife and I, you know, when she first moved into her apartment, you know, she had things that kind of fit her style. Now we have things that kind of fit both of our style. But that was interesting. Like, she had a whole bunch of like those Amish pictures on the wall. Like my wife is like that's her style.
Amish.
Yeah.
She needs to move to wherever I used to live.
Well, no. So what I would say about it is like, and this is not like mean at all. It's just her style. Is she fits more of the style of like an old lady. Like it's her style. Like she's very old fashioned. That's the great way to say it. Like, you know, like knit blankets. You know, the Amish paintings. You know, very basic. Her mother got the furniture actually that we still have some of out of an estate sale, and I think it was from an older lady as well. And I think those paintings kind of came from that same type of situation or area. And the one thing I will give this though is her mom bought a couch from this estate sale, and I will let her mom buy any of my furniture for the rest of my life, because that couch is like 2 pounds max. Like my dad and I were like, yes, like trying to move things. It was so light, and I love it because it's super light, because you don't want heavy stuff. Like heavy stuff sucks, man. You want to buy light things. Like fold out beds on a couch, don't buy it.
You know, you're saying this. The things my parents own, a gun safe.
That's heavy.
Like 1,500-pound gun safe.
Mm-hmm.
A fucking 1980s jukebox.
Heavy.
This big.
So my brother-in-law, he like one of the biggest nightmares ever, and he'll admit it. One of the hardest things we ever did was moving him and my sister when he had like basically an arcade in the basement. So he had pinball machines. He had this Lucky and Wild machine.
Have you ever played Bubble Bobble?
He had this really cool... I have no idea.
No. Bubble Bobble was an awesome game. My dad used to have it at Bubble... We still do in my old bedroom. A Bubble Bobble arcade game.
He had this dope cabinet thing that he built. So it was built to look like an arcade cabinet. And the top even had the buttons. And he even wired the buttons into a computer. And then the computer fed up to a monitor like a TV. And it like just had a whole bunch of arcade games on it.
That's awesome.
Like downloaded onto it. And he made it himself, and it looked really good. So he had all this shit in the basement, and we had to like get it out of there. And like, I've got some strength, not enough. Like not so that Lucky and Wild. So he had this. It was a Lucky and Wild machine. What it is a 2-seater shooter game. So it's got an extra wide monitor, and it's like a big old cabinet built for people to sit in. And then you got your little plastic guns that you shoot at the screen, right? And there was something broken on it. I can't remember what. And we were trying to get that thing out of the basement so then, you know, he could give it to someone else or something like that. And we got so, like, he got so tired of trying to get it out because it was so heavy. Because the thing was, like, going down into the basement wasn't as hard. It was still difficult, but going up, it was almost impossible. Especially because it was up.
You're going up.
People are building. Well, what they do is they build stairs on corners. So like this. So you come around the corner and there's a staircase straight down. So when you take things down, you have to account for that fucking corner. And so we've got this thing, and he got so tired of it, he literally took an axe to it and chopped the entire cabinet down into pieces and took it out, threw it away. Like,
shit, that is.
Well, I was so
extreme.
heavy. It was so, and that wood's not light either. The cabinet for the wood, like it's so heavy. And he had like a Doctor Who pinball machine down there, which was the coolest pinball machine ever, but it was billions of pounds. Billions of pounds.
Do you have moving? How many times have you moved? 3?
I can't count. It's a lot. So if we're talking about from when I was a little kid to now. Let's just get past the whole, like, because when I was 2, we moved over there.
Get past to where you have, like,
so
to
now,
the point you have, like, your own shit.
Let's just say, well, okay, so like a teenager, right? We moved out into the country for about 7 months. We moved back. So that's twice. Then I moved in with my best friend at 19. And then I moved from there into my own apartment around like 20-ish. And then I moved from that apartment, I want to say, so I moved from that apartment to Platteville. Then I moved from Platteville back to my parents' house. And then I moved here. So 7 times.
Have you ever had, so during these moves, my follow-up question was going to be, during these moves, do you ever have, like, a part of, like, your stuff that you have to leave behind and, like, you feel, like, just crushed that you leave it behind? Have you ever had one of those moments?
I mean, there's things that I look back on in retrospect that I'm like, I miss and I wish that I wouldn't have thrown away into the garbage in my move or something like that. But in the long run, like, no. Like,
material, you're not a very, like, you don't put yourself towards material things.
Well, so the thing is those, like, I've more grown into my space rather than, like, because, like, in the times that I've moved, I've gone from a small bedroom to now having a home that's, like, 2 stories with 3 to 4 bedrooms in it.
Right.
So.
Do you have a favorite place that you always go to whenever, if you think about your old days, you know?
I really miss Platteville.
Yeah.
Like, I really miss Platteville. Like, I hate to say it, but I almost consider Platteville home. Because, like, my happiest...
That's where you met your wife, right? It's Platteville?
Yeah, I did meet her there. That's, I mean, yes, but that's not why. It's just, I have so many extremely happy memories in Platteville. Like that collage there, all that theater stuff. I mean, there's stories I can tell you for days. And Platteville was like the place, you know. And that home, the place that 8 times, because I forgot I moved once in Platteville too. Moved across town. I had the worst roommates. The worst.
I remember taking me there, and I just thought that the community, the way that it was all set up, and just like, it was a beautiful town.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like Grace and I just went back for homecoming in October, and we were just like, I was like, oh man, we just really miss this place. Like, if we could move there, we would. But like, so Grace's job is very specific, and what she's doing, it helps, like, it's a great job, and it changes lives. So for her to change that, and it happens to pay the bills and fulfill her at the same time. So it's like, for her to change that for God knows what doesn't seem practical. Like, for me, it seems like a bad idea to change that. Like, this is an interesting thing, but, like, you know, there's been, you know, a little conflict, not between us, like Grace and I, but, like, you know, there's been conflict out there about how, like, you know, what I do isn't fulfilling, and that's true. Like, I mean, I have my moments. I really enjoy my job, but it's not like one of those things that it's like, oh my God, like, are you, like, fulfilled to the brim, like, in your heart and whatnot? And it's like, yeah, you know, like, I like serving people. I really like the people that I work with. I love where I work. The people that I work with are amazing. My bosses are amazing, but the work I do isn't fulfilling. So some people are like, oh, you know, you should be doing a fulfilling job. And it's like, I would much rather my wife be 100% fulfilled. And if that pays the bills, great. But the fact that she's fulfilled is what I want, you know? Like, it's one of those things. I don't know why I went that random defensive rant there. But that's just something to me, like, it's awesome. So to, like, move to Platteville wouldn't be practical, even though we both absolutely love Platteville.
Right.
And it's, like, between both of our homes, like, evenly.
Huh. So you can never see yourself moving to Platteville?
I mean, if I ever won $2 billion in the lottery, I mean, you know, maybe, but like, you know, it's not that it's out of the picture. It's just that it's not in the cards right now. You know, there's nothing at this very moment that is a clear and present. Oh, let's move to Platteville.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I'm always.
I don't know. I think. But the place that you're in, and also kind of I'm about to be in that place, is you're open. You know, you don't have any kids. You're open to experimenting, finding where your calling is, and like I was talking to Laura, and Laura's totally, we're opposite people. Like we're opposite, yet we disagree and agree on the right amount of stuff that makes us compatible, you know. And Laura is a very family-oriented person, and she wants to be close to, you know, her mom, her dad. She wants her kids to grow up next to mom and dad. She wants her kids, you know, and because both our parents are basically, my parents are gonna live at Holiday Lake until all of the kids are out of the house, you know, until Brooks and Lainey are out of the house, and then they might move to fucking Montana is what they were talking about. But for right now, they're going to be a Holiday Lake, and I can see Ann and Tony, which is Laura's parents, being basically around Brooklyn for the rest of their life because they like Brooklyn, so they want to be there. So Laura wants to be around or have the kids grow up in an area where there's a strong grandpa presence, you know. But I, on the other hand, am very adventurous. I want to go and live in Manhattan. I want to live in LA. I also want to live in Alaska and Hawaii. I
wouldn't live in Hawaii. I've been there. My sister lives there. Actually, yeah, she still technically lives there for another 24 hours. And then she's coming back tomorrow. Actually, moving back to Iowa for like a month and a half, and then going to South Korea. But I wouldn't live in Hawaii. I would totally live in Alaska, though.
You wouldn't live in Hawaii?
No.
You don't. See, now I'm thinking about if I was rich, I would like to have a house out in the bumfuck nowhere of Hawaii.
You could be poor people live in Hawaii.
Well, I want a nice.
So and I'm not saying this is like a condescending, but like, so the history, but what's interesting about Hawaii, right? Chicago, New York, the cold places that get cold during the winter, in order to save their homeless population's lives from freezing to death, bought them tickets to Hawaii. So now there's this huge homeless population in Hawaii. They just fucking roam around. They have what they call Tent City out in Hawaii as well. There's a city that's just called Tent City, and it's just tents out on the beach. And you still have to live into community standards and stuff, but like people just live in a tent out on the beach because it never gets too cold, and it just drizzles sometimes. That's Hawaii. So like there's a huge homeless population out there. And like my sister actually, so she bought this home in this area that they're developing, and it's out in this area called Waianae. And Waianae is crazy. Like, she is in a fenced off cul-de-sac, so she's safe.
Okay.
But once you go out of there, first of all, they're extremely racist to white people. They hate white people out there. They call them haoles. They hate them. Because they're like tourists and shit. And they feel that they've torn up their home, the natives. Second of all, like, I'm not kidding. Like, we went down to the beach over in Waianae, just a little drive. I said, why don't we walk? My parents said, no, you can't walk because the wild dogs could get you. And so... Okay. so we drove down there, and we're down at the beach, and there's this lady just doing meth. Just tweaking out. She's got, like, a basket over her head, just... And we're like, what the heck? And we told my sister, and she's like, oh yeah, that's Waianae. And her and her husband have a thing that whenever you just hear something crazy, they're like, well, you know, like, so they're just talking about like all the crazy stuff they're talking. Like, you'll just be driving down, and there's like one person in the middle of the road just squat down taking a shit in the middle of the road in Waianae.
That's like
there's crazy people everywhere. So Hawaii, tourist-wise, great place to vacation. To live, horrible. Also, Obama in office, my sister's the only person that I feel that I know that had like a legitimate hatred for Obama. And it was because every time he came on vacation, they shut the entire place down. She couldn't move.
Really?
Like, you know, so like that's Obama would show up, everything on lockdown. She'd be like, ah! So,
I wonder... So what's they just have like a safety precaution type of deal?
Yeah, well, okay, so she was living on a military base. So the president shows up, you have to lock that down.
I see.
So, and on top of that, traffic gets interrupted even in regular areas. So you like it's awful. And so, you know, you have to deal with tourists, you have to deal with like the worst driving. Like I don't know how you get around there. My brother-in-law, he says it's pretty simple. You move. He's got this huge. They have like a 12-passenger van because they have so many kids, and he's like, my van's big enough. You start moving, they'll get out of your way. That's how he drives. That's how you have to drive too. It's not like, I'm not kidding. Like, he's not just being a jerk. That's how you have to get around Hawaii.
I saw something interesting about
Don't go to Hawaii. Go to Alaska. Alaska's dangerous, but at least it's beautiful.
I want to live in an area that's remote, but close enough to a decent sized city, so I don't have to like drive an hour one way. You know, if you're in Grinnell, your options are Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, or Des Moines. Yeah, like that's it.
You probably love Wisconsin, actually.
Well, yeah, I haven't explored Wisconsin enough. I just know that when
So this is what's interesting, right? Okay, so Wisconsin's like this. So Grinnell to Brooklyn, 15 minutes, right? Yeah, it's just corn for that 15 minutes. Wisconsin, imagine like all these little cul-de-sacs with like little country areas just peppered in there, and just they're next to everything. Like you're 15 minutes from a Kohl's department store. Everywhere. Yeah. Like, it's just like there's like city stuff everywhere, but it's just little cul-de-sacs. It's not like Des Moines where it's like you have to go into Des Moines. It's just like nice little cul-de-sacs with country spots all over the place in Wisconsin. It's awesome.
Right.
That is the one thing I will give them. The thing that I don't like is that it's hills and turns everywhere.
Right.
There's no such thing as a straight line in Wisconsin. It's round. They do this.
Roundabouts in Wisconsin.
I don't think so. Because when they do pop up, I hear about it from her mom. Like, she flips out about roundabouts. Nobody likes roundabouts. routes. So I don't think that's...
They're getting better, though.
But I think they're rare in Wisconsin.
They're putting a lot of them in Iowa.
It's just a lot of... like, Wisconsin's a lot of turns and hills. So it's hard... Whereas Iowa, you can drive straight for an hour and barely turn your car.
Right. But anyways, so my two things is, first, I want to live remote. I want to be sustainable. And so I don't really care where I live as long as it's a nice, beautiful scenery. But anyways, so I saw this thing where they were fucking Europe. Europe is always so far ahead of, Europe is always in an experimental stage.
Yeah, because they're thousands of years old, at least 2,000.
But they're always changing shit over in Europe. Like in America, you have there's the way it is. There's always innovation, but we're not constantly changing. Whereas in Europe, they're constantly. So I saw this thing about open concept roads, no lines, just one big road. You end up in a 4-way. Right? No stop signs. You just fucking go. And you wait. It's all this whole thing. If you're driving down this road, you could be on the left-hand or the right-hand side. If you see a car coming, though, you want to get over it, right? So, it's all open concept, and they're, experimenting with the fact that people will drive slower when it comes to an intersection. When you see kids, you'll stop for them because there's no stop for the kids, and it's just this big open concept.
You mean they have common decency when driving, and that works?
It works.
Wow.
It works for them. But here we don't have open concept. We have, we have stoplights. Your left turn lane is only for 3 seconds. So if you're the third car behind, there's a car, and you're the third car. In certain cities, you might get to the end of the line, but you're gonna get stopped, and you're not able to turn left anymore. They're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to get rid of stoplights over in Europe. They're trying to get rid of stoplights, stop signs, everything. Just have it all just drive and be on one page with everybody else.
I don't think people can handle that because there's a level of control you have to give up.
It's working with them. It just doesn't work with us.
It's because we're dicks.
Yeah, that's right.
Especially with driving. You know how many people in this town don't turn on their turn signal?
Right.
For no reason. How is that not ingrained in you to just turn on your turn? I've seen so many people just, and I'm like, where's your turn signal? It's a reflex. Turn it on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the statistics on this was since they started this up, it's been saving a lot. There's been way less accidents. I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's been way less accidents. There's been way less pedestrians being hit, and people are getting on to work on time every day. Whereas before this, they weren't getting to work. People were hitting other people, killing other people, and other stuff like that. And I think if you can get people to start doing it this way, maybe for the first 50 years it's gonna be rough. It'll be a rough patch, but eventually I think it could be smooth, teaching people how to drive.
It would take a very long time, and there would be a huge cost in life. I think people would die. Honestly,
they're not dying. Though that's the thing is in Europe.
Yeah, in Europe they're not dying. I think people would die here. I think here's a few problems. One, our political system. It's impossible to get anything done. Nobody wants to agree on anything, so they can't get anything done. Mm-hmm. Two, the cost for that would be life-wise would be great. I think too many people here are assholes, and too many people will die to make that happen.
It might work in Texas where they're just, or maybe Hawaii. I don't know.
Hawaii would not work.
You don't think it would work in Hawaii? I see now. You know more than I do.
So bad.
But I hear that people in Hawaii are very chill. They don't care if they get to places on time.
This is the thing. Okay, so they're this is what happens. So they do something that pisses you off and you flip them off. They flip you a shotgun. They're just it's cool, bro. But it's no, it's not cool. You just cut me off. Or you almost just killed me. It's cool, bro. That's their type of chill. They can almost murder you, and they're it's okay. It's no, it's not. You almost murdered me, you jackwagon. I don't know. That's how Hawaii is. They are chill, but they're also like chill in a situation where like I'm sure if a volcano erupted, they'd be like, it's all right, it's okay, shaka bra. Like and you'd be like, no, we have to run. They'd be like, no, we'll get there. It'd be like, ah, because they are. I don't know. Okay, well, I think I actually have to take off now. But this has been a good, long podcast. I think my audio is getting a little bit better. I'm going to play around a little bit this week and a half and try and figure out something.
Hopefully, we'll get to the point where it's smooth startup. Get here, sit down.
Well, we finally have social media down.
Yeah.
We have our social medias.
Where did our link go? Is it
our link?
The little flashy.
It pops up. It pops up like every 2 minutes.
Okay.
So it's here. It's just not here.
Yeah. I want to say before we go, I would like the audience to kind of get a little bit more involved. If I'm not trying to be too pushy, but like to get us suggestions and talking points and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, let us know if you want us to talk about anything specific, or not talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
We should give a shout out to, was it Christopher Goodrich?
Yes.
Yes, Christopher Goodrich. Following like all of my social medias, so thank you, Chris. That does mean a lot, and hopefully you'll keep watching.
Sorry, Charles.
Hang on, let me just. Hey, I'm just. Motherfucker, Charles. I'm so sorry, Charles. I was not talking to your twin brother, Chris. Oh my god, he's gonna be so pissed. I'd be pissed. We just lost him.
That's okay. Charles. That's cool.
Anyways, Charles, thank you so much for following us and hitting it up. Hopefully you're still watching. Hopefully you're doing good. We're gonna see you guys next time on Catchy.